Chaotically Nerdy is made by nerds for nerds. This podcast is made by adults for adults and children with bad parents. Adult language will be used and adult situations may arise. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Chaotically Nerdy. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Western animation. What we mean by that is we're basically going to talk about the shows that are considered anime, but they're not anime because they're Western. They're not made from
Heavily
Japan.
inspired by anime.
Yes.
And made in the West.
Mostly because we don't want to go through like
Every fucking animated
every
show.
cartoon from like forever.
Yeah.
The Simpsons to,
I mean,
the
like,
new shit.
there's so many good ones that I don't want to go through them either. So
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bad ones.
yeah,
There's a lot of
bad ones.
Yeah.
So, to start us off, do we want to rank them that we have wrote down here?
I don't know if I can rank
I don't
them.
think I could rank them.
Okay.
I can give you...
I mean, I think I could, but
Well, it's possible because you haven't seen them all.
exactly.
We'll just mention the
I
ones
just
we're
put
going to
those
talk
the
about.
shitty.
Yeah, we'll just mention
Okay,
them.
we'll talk about the ones we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. We're going to talk about Legend of Korra, Invincible, Legends of Vox Machina, Castlevania, The Dragon Prince, and then we also kind of are going to talk. Have you watched Blood of Zeus?
Yeah.
Okay, I have not watched Blood of
Yes.
Zeus. You both have.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Castlevania, correct?
I believe
It's
made
made by the same people.
Yeah.
I know that much. I didn't know if story-wise it was.
I think it's also based off a comic. I don't remember. It's based off something. I
Yeah,
think,
it's similar in quality. It's still that kind of
It's okay.
really good
Animation.
quality. Yeah.
All of these are actually really well animated that I have seen.
Yeah. They're all. That's probably why they're all
So
some of the most popular ones.
It's not like they're overly complicated animation. They keep it pretty simple,
I would say Dragon Prince is kind of like
a little more
yeah,
complicated.
because it's like a 3D
Yeah.
style animation.
Gotcha. So, disclaimer, have not seen all of Avatar. I've seen book 1 and 2.
I'm leaving.
Actually, you just kicked off the podcast, so there you go.
Listen, this is like the third time I've been kicked off the podcast that
Yeah.
I decided to start.
Whoa, easy there.
I'm laughing.
I'm sorry. Who sent out the text messages like, hey,
Whose
do you
idea
guys-
was it originally?
like 10 years ago?
Like 2 years ago.
Like 10 years ago?
It was like 2 years ago.
It was longer than that.
It was 2 years ago.
It was not, no,
All right,
2 years.
If we're gonna fight about this, I'm out because I never had the idea.
We've also had like 15 ideas, so
Yeah,
they
that's
all
true.
run together. Haven't watched that all the way. I have never watched Legend of Korra, and I have not watched The Dragon Prince, and I've also not watched Blood of Zeus. So
You've not
four,
watched Blood of Zeus?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
So like 4 out of the 8, I would say I haven't watched.
Okay.
If there's 8, I don't know. I'm bad at math.
I think it's 7.
Well, we added Blood of Zeus, and I think
That's
that made it
7.
That's
eight.
7.
Okay, well,
Can't read, can't write, can't add.
exactly. But here I am, running the show, baby.
Yep.
So why don't you start us off because you've actually seen some of Avatar.
What are your thoughts of Avatar?
What
have
I
you
have
seen?
what I have seen of it, and I don't remember a whole lot because it's been a long time. I've tried to go back and watch it, but then anime takes over, and I watch anime instead. I enjoy it. It's for me. I think going back and watching it, it's I want to say kiddiness,
The first scene is very kid friendly.
and it feels like it's made more for kids
It's
instead of teenagers, which a lot of anime and a lot of the other shows on here are made for as like teenagers and
sense
adults.
because
It was a Nickelodeon show.
it's
It was
the oldest.
It's the oldest. It was a Nickelodeon show. It was a kids show.
Well,
It's-
it felt totally different because it was like a Western adaptation of Japanese
yeah,
like anime.
yeah, of Japanese.
Felt very controversial, but it was accessible. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't really have, which I don't feel like I'm qualified to give complaints about it because having not seen the last of it.
I always like enjoy hearing people's thoughts on it though, because I'm always interested to see how they react as adults to what is mostly a kid show.
and that's my issue. I watched it as a kid. I watched it around the times it was coming out, and then it kind of became. At the last book, I was like, I'm not going to watch this because I was getting.
Too old?
It's not that I was getting too old. It was
uninterested
because felt like I was getting too old.
Sucks because you missed the best book.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's really good. I watched all of it, and then I watched the finale live when it happened.
Oh yeah,
It's a 4-part finale that happened on Nickelodeon. They blocked out 2 whole hours. It was
Awesome.
it was like a movie.
That's how big it was.
It was like their flagship thing at that time. But yeah, it was really good. You missed like my favorite episode probably of any of these shows, which is the Ember Island Players, and you would love it because it's like it's a meta commentary of the story so far of Avatar, where they go see a play about the Avatar.
Is that the one where there's like a big
Yes.
buff guy that plays
Plays
Toph?
Toph, yes.
Yeah. Okay, I've
And
seen
she goes,
clips.
I love it.
Yeah, I've seen clips from
It's my favorite episode just because they make fun of the show.
it. Toph is probably, in what I've watched, my favorite character.
She's everybody's
favorite
most
character.
everybody.
Followed by Zuko. No, Sokka. Is it Sokka? What's his name?
Sokka's the brother, yeah.
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 Yeah. He fucked the moon.
He did fuck them. That's rough, buddy.
You beat me to it.
I
beat me to
I've
it.
seen him getting ready
Also,
to say it.
I was going to be a real dick, and whenever y'all said, like, when you wanted to start with me, I was going to be like, that movie was fucking great. And just be an asshole about it, but I hated the movie.
We do not speak of that.
I couldn't even go through with it, is the issue.
I watched it, and it was awful.
What?
That's the right response.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
right response.
That's the right. There is no movie in Lake Laogai.
Yeah. What movie? The music on Avatar: The Last Airbender was stellar.
Yeah.
I mean, just fantastic. Like, I still, when I think about the episode where he's
Singing to his son.
leaves on the
Yeah.
vine, like, I
You
cried.
have to seen that movie, that scene. Episode, 'cause it's in
Where
season 2.
Iroh is singing?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
I have seen it. I have not actually, like, listened to it. I know.
It's not there's nothing spectacular about that music. Actually, it's just a very sad,
Situation.
emotional moment in the show.
it's the music is perfect for the scene.
yes,
though.
but it's not like complicated. It's like
No,
but
it
it's
doesn't
like,
have to be.
Down.
But like, as for me, like, I have to say, Ember Island's like
It's
my
one of my
favorite
favorite
episodes too. I mean, it's just I like fourth wall breaking stuff, and that gets very close.
Especially the Where's Jet or did he die?
It's real.
It's unclear.
It's perfect. But like, it's was really cool watching it as it came out, because like it started out and I really enjoyed it. I was in high school, but I really enjoyed it and it was coming out. But it feels like it like not only the characters mature, the writing matures, the story matures as it goes through. It just gets better and better and better, and that goes on through Korra.
Yes, it gets really.
Like, it doesn't just get darker. It doesn't just get like
just
funnier in certain parts. It's just like,
It's mature.
yeah, the writing matures, the animation matures, all of it just gets better and better up until the last season of Korra doesn't actually.
That's not also not really their fault.
That's not their fault, no. But we'll talk about that. But no, I have no complaints about it outside of that first season.
It's just a little kid. It's a little fillery and a little kiddie.
But I understand why. That's what Nickelodeon was used to doing.
Yeah,
So
they wanted that.
It's a kid's show.
it was a much higher quality of show than we have seen out of Nickelodeon. Both of these together, much higher quality show than we've seen out of them before or since. I mean, it's just up there with some of the best stuff I've ever seen.
Gotcha.
So going into Korra.
I can't talk
Yeah.
about any of it. I haven't seen. I've only seen bits and pieces, and even then, it's not enough for me to.
Okay, no, spoiler alert, like the main character from Avatar dies some point between the shows.
Yeah.
And you would get the new Avatar, and she's training up to be.
Korra.
Yeah, I knew that much of it.
No, I'm just prefacing.
Yeah.
But I think they do a lot right, especially in those first two seasons. That feels really good. They do a lot with progress, with world building. It's really nice. It feels really fast, though, how they went from like the Iron Age to modern electricity.
It's been like I want to say I remember 60 or 70 years.
Yeah.
It's not like inconceivable. Like if you look at our own historical like progress, like once you're at a certain point, like that like go back 70 years from now, you're in the 50s, and look how much we progressed in terms of like
That's true.
technology and like computers.
Well, I
and
mean, I guess that's true because if you count like a lot of Eastern history around the turn of the century in like the 1900s, at 1900, like there's if you counted 60 years prior to like 1920, like they were almost in the Iron Age.
they were very rural and like
I mean, it was more advanced, but I mean, still,
technologically like deficient compared to like the rest of the modern world.
I guess so, without being mean, but
Well, no, just because like it's like
it's just true.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately true. But they do a lot of really cool things that you couldn't do in the first season. There's like some noir feel to it at times. The relationship, because the characters are actually older,
they're
the main 4 or 5.
Yeah.
old, upper teens. I don't know, 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And I don't know, the voice acting was
It's
spectacular.
like the voice acting in Avatar is not bad, but the cast that they got for Korra is like fucking insane.
oh, yeah.
It's like, you know, you got the heavy hitters. You got J.K. Simmons. You got Steve Bloom.
Oh yeah, J.K. Simmons is one of the
He's Tenzin.
airbenders,
He's
right?
Tenzin. He's Aang's son.
Tenzin, my favorite.
It's so good. All throughout, like all the way through, they knocked it out with the casting, and it's so good. And then not only that casting, but the actual animation of the fights, they're so.
And the story, like,
Oh, the story,
the villains are so much more like
compelling.
compelling, relatable, and still yet more evil. More just all around better, better writing.
And then Nick decided to ruin it because. So the first 3 seasons. Okay, originally, actually, the first season was supposed to be a standalone thing. It was supposed to be done, one and done.
Just one season, call it quits.
They decided it did so well that they said we need more seasons.
And they like
So they did.
up the ante. That second season was
They like doubled the episode
It
count.
was
one of
even
the best.
better.
Yeah.
They got Stephen Yeun at the height of Walking Dead to voice the first Avatar.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like this is 2013. This is fucking in the middle of Walking Dead when Glenn is like the most popular character.
Out of all this, that whole thing with the first Avatar, that is my favorite.
Oh, it's so good. They
That's
changed
my
the animation
favorite
style.
section
Yeah, they
out of
changed
all
it.
these shows.
They changed the animation style. It's more like a, I don't know. They change it and it's like so good.
It just fits better.
Yeah. So they get to season 3 and they're like, we're gonna start wrapping this up. So they're like, we're gonna cut your budget for season 4, and they're like, all right, you know. So they put like the first half of season 4 on the air, took it off the air, put it up only on the website.
I specifically remember
Yes.
you talking about that.
It's so dumb. This is 2014. Nick did not have a good website.
No,
Most places didn't.
Do you want to know why that they took it off the air? Because they wanted to have a gay couple in the end.
Oh, and they wouldn't,
Yeah, they want to have Korra and Asami be lovers.
and they weren't comfortable airing that at the
and
time.
they still didn't do it. They still didn't air it. They just have them hold hands at the very end.
So they didn't even go all the way in. They just were like, yeah.
But this is 2014. It's a completely different
I'm,
time.
I'm fairly sure
Did they kiss?
they kiss.
Did they kiss?
Yes.
It's been a year since I've seen the actual. I think they do right before they go through the portal, don't they?
Yeah, they go. They do. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's very like chaste and like they basically all up to that last episode. They're like, are we gonna do it? But it was a really shitty thing to do on the season. During the season, they just jockeyed them around and like fucked them over,
Gotcha.
and it like really.
But what the major problem? What happened was they didn't get to complete like the animation. Even
Yeah, they
wasn't
had, like,
even done.
I think they had.
If you watch it, like
It
if you
just
watch
looks
it going
worse.
from season 3 to 4,
it's
like season 3 is really crisp. It's clean. It's really well done. And then you get that season 4, and there's a lot of places where it feels like it's just been smoothed over.
Gotcha.
Do they have like a clip episode in season 4? I feel like they do.
Yeah, they do. It's one of the last ones.
Yeah, it's like towards the end.
Yeah.
So let's jump into Invincible, which is something I can talk about. 'cause
Speaking
I
of
have
Stephen Yeun
Yeah. And J.K. Simmons.
and J.K. Simmons.
I love this show.
It's, I fear the meme is gonna like outweigh the actual like superb story that they're gonna tell. Like I feel like the meme is just gonna like overshadow it. Like people are gonna be like, oh, I know it's that show from the meme.
Yeah. People are going to watch it because of the meme.
Yeah, but then they'll be like, no, I don't know.
I did.
Yeah.
That's why I watched it. Yeah.
I watched it because I've heard it was very good. That's just why I watched it. It's
So good.
we've went into this era of let's show superheroes
We're in the
not being heroes.
Yeah, we're in the anti-superhero age now.
where
Which
it's like they are superpowered people who will fuck you up.
yeah, between this and The Boys, I mean, Amazon kind of has like the
Yeah,
monopoly.
on the anti-hero,
The anti-superhero.
anti-super.
genre.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, this is going to be a little bit off track, but I feel like if Watchmen doesn't get made into one of these animated things, I feel like that's a huge loss.
It may have been a motion comic, but I feel like they did do like something like similar to that.
Yeah.
We're opening up. There's so many comic books that are now
Yeah.
probably going to get made into animation in Western animation because it's successful. I mean, you see so much of it being successful. People are going to be like, okay, let's take advantage of it.
And like Invincible only can really like I have read synopsis because there's no real like way for me to read the Invincible comics without buying them. And I don't want to buy them.
You're poor.
Well, it's not even that.
We're all poor.
I just don't want to buy them. I'm like, I can wait. But I read synopsises of like kind of some shit that's gonna happen. It's like, oh, this is gonna get fucking nuts.
I've read theories about Omni-Man and like why he decided in this to
There's some shit.
why he
that's-
decided to finally say now's the time.
Yeah.
It was that he was waiting on Mark to get his powers,
Yeah.
essentially. And if Mark wasn't going to get his powers, he was just going to outlive him and let him die and then take over. Because he had those attachments that I don't think he originally planned on.
Again, I can't say a whole lot without spoiling shit because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's good. But it's really good. It's the fight scene, the subway part. Oh my god,
Yeah,
That's the
the
most
subway is...
brutal thing I think I might have ever seen in
It's
animation
probably the most brutal
that I can think of.
animated show that we...
No, like the going through the subway is way more worse than getting. It's just because it's like
Yeah.
it's like hundreds of people just getting murdered.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
It's
Okay, I can
instead of
agree with
one
that.
person.
But the whole show is like that. It starts off the end of the first episode, and you're like,
Yeah.
what?
It's mind-blowing, some would say.
And like they play that first episode so well, where it's like they don't curse, they don't show any blood. Like it looks, if you did not know, you would think it's a kid's show.
Yeah, and you would be
Until
like,
the
this
end
is
of that first episode.
You're like, this is a superhero show. Like, all right, I can get behind this. And then you're like, holy...
Yeah. Because I remember, I watched it on Amazon. And it was like rated MA or whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like I'm halfway through the first episode. I'm like, they haven't cursed. There's no blood. I'm like, what the fuck is this show? I'm like, this.
And then you get to the last 5 minutes, and you're like,
I'm I see.
I get it.
I have understood. It's so brutal.
I don't really have any complaints about it. Like, just thinking about...
No, I like the gritty, more realistic, like superheroes
Yeah,
being
like-
like not so good.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite things to watch. So
And I mean, the voice acting's great.
Yeah, I've heard some people they don't more up until the climax that they did not love J.K. Simmons' Omni-Man because he was very like flat and like neutral.
I feel like that's on purpose, though.
And, yeah, they're saying it was more up until the point where we got to the end. They're like, now you see.
Yeah.
Like, and he just like knocks it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
Kills it.
I don't know. I love J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
So
He's so good and everything. Let's jump into Legends of Vox Machina. Holy fuck, is it good? I love the animation style. I love the story, which you two have listened to
I've
Critical
watched it.
Role, correct?
I've listened to most of this part. Yes.
Okay. I have not. I've listened to a few episodes, not enough to matter.
He was also probably the arc before this.
It was.
It's just a really interesting concept for making a story. It's just playing out a D&D game
Yeah.
and then taking that story that's created live that you can go and watch as it's created, and then turning it into like an animated series.
And not only that, it's done well in the fact of when you take D&D and you see the successes and failures and how they play, that's done well.
Yeah.
Like you see failures that happen and that I assume happened during Critical Role.
If you're talking about the doors, yes.
Well, just I mean, just in general, like you will see failures that happen, but you don't, unless you know that that moment happened and that person failed that role, you're not going to think about it.
Well, that's what is like a big disconnect for me for a lot of shows and movies and stuff is like the main character doesn't fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like ever. And if they do fail, it's a big point for them to learn and then they never fail again.
Yeah.
Like that's not realistic. When you're watching something like Vox Machina or,
I mean, Thor is filmed
or
twice,
listening to Vox Machina being played or watching them play it, it feels more realistic because they are failing because it's the dice rolls
And
controlling
it
it.
makes
It's random.
it makes the successes that much sweeter.
Yes.
They mean more.
Yeah.
But it also adds this really natural feeling comedy, like the kind of ridiculousness of life.
Well, that's part of what makes D&D so fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the fact, like, I
So
hate playing with people that fudge their roles.
So, to explain, like the door part, where
Yes.
where Scanlan, Vax, and Percy are trying to get in the back door,
Yeah, and they can't get in.
it's adapted from a scene. They weren't trying to get into the same door, but it took them 3 spells. They broke the lockpicks. They got hurt. It took them like an hour in game to get through a fucking wooden door, and it's one of the most ridiculous, funny things that
Yeah.
I've ever watched. It's just so dumb, and even when they got done, they're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. And there's times in D&D where you have to just
Yeah.
look at it and go,
Yeah.
Not what the fuck.
Yeah. It was so dumb, but I love it. But like,
I don't know how many times you guys have drugged me when I'm DMing through this slog of the most inane
horseshit.
bull crap.
That's what we do.
Yeah. But that's what makes it fun.
is.
In the end, that's what you remember.
And like, one of the things I like is it lets the players go back and fix some character arc stuff like that happened in the game. Like they
Yeah.
can fix some character arcs or tweak them or whatever. Like one of my favorite characters in the show is Keyleth. I love Keyleth in the show.
Oh, yeah.
She's so like adorable, but also, badass, and like her journey through this arc is so good in the show. She's just kind of meh.
There.
Yeah,
She's just kind of,
And there's a very large part of this community that hates Keyleth and Marisha for some reason. I don't get it.
yeah.
Because
Why?
they just don't like her because they just. It's kind of like why people don't like. How did I forget her name? What the
Well, who's she
from
play?
Avatar? No,
Katara?
Katara.
Oh, I definitely don't like Katara.
But like the same where she as it goes along, she's kind of like the moral center, and like she's kind of judgy a little bit, but like it.
Yeah, but she's been through things.
Yeah.
She's not just a child telling people how
Yeah,
to
but
feel.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like the people who have that argument against her because I think she is she's a really good character. She's not my favorite, but in the actual campaign, but in the show they like really make her arc mean something, and it really helps.
It kind of, you almost see her, I want to say grow up, but that's not the right
She
word.
matures.
Yeah,
Like,
she definitely matures.
from the first episode, she's like a naive
She
kid
develops.
Still. She's like a naive kid still, like fresh to the world, and as she goes along, she's like, oh,
Yeah.
the world kind of fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also the second season's going to be insane. I'm just going to tell you guys that.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
What is this?
Well, okay. Do you remember the last shot of the 4 things flying through?
No,
No.
I don't.
They're attacking. They're gearing up to attack the city. No.
Nah,
Oh, it's,
we'll talk about it after we
Yeah.
stop recording, so
it's
I can
gonna be-
actually know.
It's going to be insane.
I really, honestly, that's one of which I said I didn't have any cons for Invincible. I don't really have any cons for Vox Machina, but I think, to play devil's advocate, I think that's because it was a show that has previously come out, and then
It's twice cooked.
yes, they can fix the wrongs that
Yeah.
happened in Critical Role
Yeah, because
to make it better.
There's a lot of shit that was wrong in the first iteration that didn't work.
Yeah. But I mean,
Nothing
that's
like-
also like D&D.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, especially depending on like how long you play. So let's jump into Castlevania. which on this list is probably my favorite
It's really
Western
good.
I
animation.
was really apprehensive when I saw that they were making it, and then I saw that when it came out, I didn't watch it for like a month because I was like, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Watched it. It's one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
It's so good.
The voice acting is great. The character development throughout all of it and everything that the characters do is just
It's like everything you like. If you go back and watch those '90s cartoons that you watched as a kid,
yeah.
it's like everything you wanted them to be when you went back and watched them, but they kind of let you down when you tried to go back and watch them, like Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't live up to the hype.
They didn't live up to the hype. This lives up to the hype, and it feels like what they should have been like.
Yeah.
The fight against Dracula is like one of the most insane fights.
And you feel bad
But
for
that's-
Dracula.
It's not even like I don't. That's not even my favorite fight.
It gets a little weird with Alucard every now and then.
It does. My favorite fight is Sifa and Trevor in the basement in season 3.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She's using her element because I'm like, this is what Avatar should be like. I'm like, oh my! It made
Yes.
me think of me. I was like, this is an Avatar fight, but like on steroids.
Yeah.
And it makes you, to me, it feels very much like a D&D show. And it makes me just want to play D&D more. And it's like, I want a fucking whip. I want a whip so I can play like Trevor Belmont and just do all kinds of stupid shit that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, but whips are turning out to be a little lackluster in D&D. So
Yes.
That's one.
A little?
But yeah, that's one I put it.
D4.
Default.
But then there's like the whole.
Monk weapon.
There's like the whole arc with the what are their names? The
The
Soul-
twins.
No, not the twins. The soul.
Oh,
What are they called? Hang on.
Oh, the crafter.
Yeah,
guys.
Isaac and Hector.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Like
really
that whole
good.
their whole
they're
side
good
story
arcs.
is like really fucking cool.
It's
And
fun
I'm
to
like,
watch.
oh. And also kind of creepy. Like this is also like a really creepy fucking show. Like
Yeah.
it's like a horror.
Oh yeah, it's not for kids.
No.
No.
Do not let your kids watch this.
Or
Nightmares.
if you're one of the
Nightmares.
kids with bad parents that are here, do not watch this.
Well,
But watch it. Go ahead and watch it.
yeah, go ahead and watch it. It's really
It's
good.
really good.
It's really good.
Don't cry to your parents and tell them that we told you to watch it.
It's so dark.
so
It's so dark.
So
It's and then there's the whole scene about the priest with the kids.
oh, that's fucking terrible.
Oh yeah.
I love it and
Oh,
hate it at the same time.
That was a good turn though.
Oh.
That was a really good turn. Like I did not expect that. That was
I
weird.
didn't and did. Like I didn't expect it at the like when we
Like I
first
thought
meet
it
him.
like as a joke, like hey, it's probably that guy. And then at the end I was like,
Oh,
oh,
it actually is that guy.
it was
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy.
yeah.
it's a thing. So let's jump into Dragon Prince.
The exact opposite of Castlevania.
Super fucking like wholesome and like it's the least adult of these shows. I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
It's just,
Really, even more so than Avatar.
Than the first season of Avatar, it's
like-
probably more adult than the first season of Avatar, but for the rest of Avatar, it's definitely a lot lighter.
Gotcha. What's it about? I mean, I don't know anything
Okay.
about it.
So, it's basically about these two human princes and this elf, this Scottish elf, which might be the most interesting part of the world building that I just absolutely love. Like hearing her accent come out of an elf is like amazing.
It's a reference back to Celtic
Yeah.
fairy mythology. So because
Yeah.
like they tend to have like that sort of
Yeah, Celtic phase.
Celtic
Like, yeah.
fae accent.
But I feel like just because it's like, I guess it's pop culture, like perception, like elves are like, hoity-toity British folk.
But if you go and you play like video games and stuff and you see like fairies, a lot of times they'll have like a Scottish, an Irish, or like a
Anyway, so it's these two princes and this elf that are trying to get the dragon, this dragon egg, to the Dragon King of the
something like that.
Dragon Lord. Anyway, so it's basically like they have a MacGuffin, but this dragon egg actually eventually hatches, and then they get it's like a really cute baby dragon. But then there's like this whole side plot with these brother and sister. They're like evil, kind of evil, but they're like really like they're trying to chase them.
They're trying to impress their
Yeah,
father.
it's very much like Zuko. Like I told you before.
Yeah.
it's
But
written.
there's two of them instead of one.
It's
Yeah.
it's like Azula and Zuko both went after the Avatar at the same time.
Gotcha.
It's written by a guy who was a writer on Avatar. They even got the guy who voices Sokka voices the main character in this.
And you've got really similar character types
Yes.
playing it. You've got, they're the different roles, and they're kind of mixed up in their roles, but they're still like the same character archetypes. But they do it in a way that it feels like Avatar without feeling like a copy.
Yeah, it's got a very Avatar-esque feel, and it's just really interesting. And there's like a magic.
Though the
system
magic's
in it.
really cool in it too. It's really interesting how they did that. It's an interesting system.
I really like the fire elves or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god,
Oh, it's neat.
their weapons are like fucking awesome. They're so cool.
I guess all of these I will probably eventually watch, but it's just a time thing.
Yeah.
I figure as my daughter gets older, I can just start introducing certain shows. Obviously not Invincible.
Not most of these.
Yeah, obviously not most of these. But
Two of these definitely, as she's younger,
Yeah.
between like 5 and 10. Two of them will definitely be very good. That would be Dragon Prince and Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't figure the other three would happen until she's much, much older.
No.
No,
Like
shouldn't.
Cora, you could do that. She's like preteen. It's
I
fine.
feel like y'all didn't hear me say that. I said until she's like much, much older, and I said
7.
like 7.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start her off with Invincible.
Might be too young.
I'll be like, superheroes are fake as fuck. Don't trust them.
I'm calling Child Protective Services.
Look, I see Titanic when I was like 6 or 7.
I did.
No,
I did too
I
in the
didn't really,
theater.
It didn't register.
Register the.
I was
the
sitting in
car
front of my
scene. I'm
mom,
like,
and
what
she
is going on?
covered my eyes.
That was
Like, don't watch that.
It's a very similar thing that happened to me. I was sitting like in the floor, and my mom was sitting behind me, and she goes,
Yep.
"I was like, what's going on?"
Why can't I see?
Yeah,
It's funny because Ryan was sitting right beside me, and he's just like eyes glued to the big screen. Just
Draw me one of your French girls.
what are those
The-
dots?
What are those dots?
Sitting there like the claw. That's all I can think of whenever people say they're wide-eyed looking at something. Is the freaking toys from Toy Story.
Aliens.
And
I've been chosen.
let's jump into Blood of Zeus. I haven't watched it.
I watched when it came out, so hang on.
It's a lot of the same feeling
As Castlevania.
as Castlevania.
That's because I do know that it's made by the same people.
Yeah.
The animation makes it feel more like storytelling than it does like watching a story happen. So
Gotcha.
the story is more like mythology. It feels like mythology. It doesn't just feel like somebody who's you're watching make decisions in real time.
Gotcha.
But that is actually really good for this story. I think I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed all these, but I really like Greek mythology to begin with, so it's right up my alley.
Yeah, and it's also not like a story we've seen before. From where it's like
It's
very-
a little different.
it's
It's
inspired.
not too different to feel like it's just going out of like left field.
It's
but
inspired by Greek mythology, like a story from Greek mythology, not like a direct like the Odyssey or like
Gotcha.
something like that.
It's not pulled straight from
No,
a book,
it's
but
like-
it's also
They kinda came with
inspired
their own,
by.
Yeah, they came with their own story and just like set it in the Greek mythology world.
That's interesting. I have to give it a try. Which
good.
all of these I'll have to give a try. But
yeah, if you haven't watched any of these, definitely go watch them. They're all just good.
They're all fantastic.
yeah. And so that's gonna. Do we want to talk about fan bases? We do because we meant to bring it up on the anime episode. This is like Western anime.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about how shitty fan bases can be.
Yeah, I guess we could.
Just to
Yeah.
vamp for like 10 more minutes.
Okay. Fan bases suck.
They can suck.
Well,
they can be very
They're
good.
important.
They're important, but to me, the longer a show goes on, the more toxic its fan base gets because it gets more insular and smaller the longer you go on, and they all just start kind of like fighting each other.
The thing is that like fan bases, because popularity is almost completely based off of word of mouth.
Yes.
Like, so like if you want like anything word of mouth spread is going to be much more effective than anything else that advertisement wise. So
And a fan base can absolutely turn somebody away from a show.
absolutely. And if you don't like the fan base, well, the main function of the fan base thing is that it's going to spread the word of mouth about a thing. And then if it's toxic, you're actually going to push people away from the thing.
Yes. I've heard of people not watching My Hero Academia because of the fan base talking about certain things, like ships between characters, and they're so fucking obsessed with it that
is
they
this
think
like-
it has
is
to
this
be
a
like
Deku Bakugo thing versus
Well, like-
Deku versus
Uraraka.
yeah.
That is like
That,
100%.
like, they just every fucking character has to be with somebody for some reason.
Yeah,
They
it's-
can't just be teenagers that are trying to become superheroes.
That is 100% why I've never watched Naruto.
Shipping. Yeah, there is some of that in there.
There's a lot of shipping. And I just like
Okay,
gloss over it and like
yeah.
not watching
I've
it.
grown out of the fan base of Naruto to where I'm like, I don't like, who they ended up with is who they ended up with, and I'm fine with it. It works for me. But there's people who are vehemently against it. Like they just do not agree with the coupling. So
They don't agree with the decisions made.
yeah, it happens in a lot of things, especially where they go from teenagers, young adults to like adulthood.
But I mean, like that. This isn't just anime that
No.
we're talking about because I mean,
It's just any fan base. I mean,
yeah,
Harry
we
Potter's-
talked about it a little bit when we did Harry Potter,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
A little bit.
The Harry Potter fan base is both a positive force for the show and the books and stuff, but it's also negative.
Yeah, if you catch the wrong one, like the wrong
Yeah.
person
Like,
that's a
if you-
fan,
If
and you talk about the movies, books, whatever you want to talk about, they can ruin your experience for that. Just by how much they will, because I mean, people they will dog you about your opinion.
Yeah,
Because like us giving our opinions on our rankings for the movies, I'm sure somebody out there will fucking hate us all.
oh yeah. I'm sure the things we just talked about, some of these shows, and that's another thing is like anime itself is a fan base, and then whenever it's like Avatar came out, it was
People
like
considered
like,
it
you
an
can't
anime.
watch that because it's not Japanese anime, and I'm like I can watch it because it's good.
yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I can watch it because I can watch whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, exactly.
If I enjoy it, I'm gonna watch it.
At the time, it was like a oddity though. Like it was like the only kind of thing like it. Where
It
was
felt like an anime, but was
Western.
Western.
Yeah.
It wasn't based off of a
Yeah.
manga.
Yeah. Whereas now we have what we just listed 7 shows that are like in the similar.
And that's not
vein.
even-
all of them.
Yeah, that's
sure.
just 7 of the more popular ones
Yeah.
right now.
There's
Because
probably
isn't Record for Ragnarok, is that based off of manga?
yes,
It is? Okay. I couldn't remember for sure.
it uses a lot of Western characters, but it's based off of manga.
Gotcha. I mean, there is others, though, that we could
Yeah.
delve into, but we're not going to because of how much time it takes. So just if you're going to be a fan of something, talk about the positives of what you talk about what you like,
Yeah, try to be positive instead of negative, even though I know we don't do that.
and
always
don't
on this
shit on
podcast.
people for liking something different than you, because guess what? Different strokes for different folks.
And just like making that fandom like your entire personality, which we've
that's-
seen it before.
Yeah.
Like so many people, like I don't want to point fingers, but
Yeah,
yeah, but don't make it your personality because it's not healthy. Making
No.
any one thing your personality outside of yourself or your personality is not healthy. It's not good for
Yeah.
you. It's not good for anybody.
It's
and
fine.
nobody likes you.
It's fine to take bits and pieces from things.
it's also fine to not like everything. Like if you watch a movie
Yeah.
you don't like it, it's fine.
I'm
Don't-
sure there's people that don't like Thor Ragnarok.
There's probably
They're wrong,
I was
but-
thinking like Star Wars. Like people don't like the Last
Yeah.
Jedi. We can disagree. Like I don't like it. They may like it. It's whatever. Like we can disagree about it, but like let's not
I mean,
I don't want to have a
hateful
10-hour
toward-
argument
let's
with
not
you
be
over
hateful
why
towards each other.
almost anything you like, especially entertainment wise, has good parts and bad parts. And everyone's going to differ on what they like and what they don't like. And these are just opinions. Ours are just opinions.
Yeah.
They're not law. And you shouldn't attack people for them. It's not healthy.
except for in the podcast form that we do, because we immediately attack each other.
That's fine. We're friends. We
But-
already
and I think-
have this base.
That's
Don't-
why
don't-
we do that.
Don't attack. Like
Don't attack a random person on the internet for saying they liked this movie and you didn't like it.
Or the actor who was,
You named a whole
character.
episode after me being wrong.
it was a joke.
It was a joke.
I don't feel like it though.
Do you feel personally attacked?
I cried after I heard about the name.
I don't give a fuck.
I doubt that. I
With
told you
joy.
the name here.
With joy.
Okay, good.
I want to be a hipster.
I believe it. You work at a vape shop.
You're 80% hipster
You wear a
already,
beanie 9 months out of the year,
And
and you vape. Not just work at the vape shop. You do it. Okay, so I meant to ask this question. It's an anime-based question. I meant to ask it on that episode, but I forgot. So since we're technically Western anime, I'm going to bring it up. So I can't even remember who this is by. I happened to see it one day and thought it was a great question. Liked it personally. So you become a Saiyan. You have two options here. You can become a Saiyan, gain a tail, gain a boost in strength, and you can inherently fly. With enough training, you can unlock the further transformations.
Yeah.
Or you can get the one and only Death Note in existence, but you don't get to see the Shinigami, but you can use the Death Note to its extent in any way that you would normally use it.
Which one do we pick?
Yeah. I'll roll. Jarrett, you're first.
Why me?
I feel like you would. Why? I don't know why I feel like he would have. I have the answer. There's no doubt in my mind.
They both have their negatives that I don't know. It's like they said, like Vision says in Avengers, like does not our very existence invite challenge? So if I'm a Saiyan, do I not just invite the end of the world?
It depends on what you do with that.
And then also, the power of the Death Note is so like corruptible. Like I feel like you can just be easily like, oh, this guy cut me off and fucking write his name down.
Roll down the window. Yeah. What's your name? Tony. Fuck you, Tony.
Like, I'm like, ugh. It's a slippery slope, man.
It is. So what are you picking?
Fuck, I'm gonna be a Super Saiyan.
Okay. I'll roll and we'll see who's next. It is you, Ethan.
I don't think I would pick the Death Note. I'm not on board for killing people generally.
Thank you for picking the correct option, both of you, because if either one of you picked the Death Note, I was going to give you both too much shit. And I say this because if you pick the Death Note, you're a piece of
I
shit.
definitely want Saiyan for one thing, flying.
Yeah.
I hate walking. Stairs suck.
Also, here's the thing. If you want to pick the Death Note because you want to kill people or whatever, or you want to be an assassin, become a Saiyan and you can still do that shit because who the fuck's going to stop you?
Yeah. You just go find them and
Beat the fuck. You invincible them.
just throw them into space.
Exactly. And it's been shown that they don't need to breathe.
No, they don't need to breathe.
It's just, I don't know.
I seen that question and in my brain, I was like, I wonder what those two would say. And I feel like Jamie, our recent guest, would I think he would pick
The
Death Note. Yeah. I really think he would because I feel like he'd be.
I think he would tell us he picked Saiyan though.
After we all picked, I would have started with him.
Yeah.
Because I would have wanted to put that pressure on him to make the wrong decision.
I like that. That's funny.
I wouldn't even roll the dice. I would have been like, "You're going."
I'm lazy, so I don't like really want to do either one of them.
You don't want to have to write down the names, and you don't want to have to train. But see, that's the thing too. It said
I want to be like Gohan.
in the question, you don't have to technically train. Okay. You just get that inherent boost and the ability to fly. So really, you just are a little bit stronger and you can fly.
There are some positives, like you don't grow facial hair unless you're Vegeta.
They can grow facial hair. It just takes a long, long time for them because their hair doesn't change.
It's his unyielding rage.
But no, I've seen that, and I was like, I wonder if they would really pick the book that lets you kill people. I thought of it as more of a moral question than which.
Do you feel yourself to be like, judge, jury, and executioner?
Yeah.
Which you could still be that as a Saiyan.
Oh, you can if that's the choice, but.
Who would you actually write? I mean, who are you going to actually write into a Death Note?
Who do you have?
Yeah,
that's the correct. That very question invites where do you stop?
Right.
What do you stop?
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should answer. I'm not wanting to answer.
I don't say that question invites.
It's just
it invites a moral question of. Okay, this person jaywalked. They can because do you say, "Oh, I'm going to kill criminals only," and then you're like, "Well, they fucking jaywalked." Mm-hmm. take them out.
But then like I couldn't trust myself because in like a fit of rage,
You just write down anybody
Like-
that made you mad.
like somebody on Facebook who
Yeah.
like says something stupid or on YouTube comments.
You disagree. with-
YouTube comments are the worst.
Yeah.
And like
Twitter
I would
comments
just
might
be
be the
mad and I would just be like, meh. And then I would feel bad for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
Unless you're fucking Light L, whatever, whichever. I haven't seen Death Note.
Like,
Light.
Light.
I forget which one ever has the fucking.
Light has it.
Yeah.
L is the detective
Yeah.
that.
So, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it's I felt like that was a good moral question to bring up instead of just here's a anime question, which it felt like. It feels like an
It's a
anime
moral
question.
question wrapped in an anime.
Exactly. And I really appreciate it. So that's going to wrap up everything for this episode. We appreciate you being with us. And we, as always, you can find links to our Facebook and Discord on anchor.fm/chaotically nerdy. We appreciate you listening. We hope to see you on the next one.
We love you.